Now, as I've said quite a few times, to reduce our stress and manage our emotions and manage our whole life, we really have to get in touch with our internal feedback system. So we have an internal system inside of us which we're born with, which is always speaking to us. But it doesn't speak English, Chinese, German, or any other language. It speaks body sensations, felt sense sensations, emotions, stress, energy feelings. This is how our body speaks to us. And we can call this our body intelligence. Now, most people are using their head intelligence because that's what we're trained to use at school. And also, we unconsciously train ourselves out of being in tune with our body intelligence. But I like to say that the head intelligence is everything from the neck upwards. In other words, it's our head brain. And the body intelligence is everything from the neck downwards, which really encompasses our heart brain and our gut brain, but actually the intelligence in literally every cell, tissue, and organ in our body. So your body is always talking to you. It's always giving you feedback. It's assessing every single situation or event that is happening in your life and in your environment. And it's your job to notice that feedback and to interpret that feedback, which is given through the emotions or the stress or the energetic sensation or however the body is speaking to you. And everybody's body will be slightly different, although there will be common denominators for everyone. But it's your job to notice this feedback, interpret what your body is telling you, and then do what your body is asking from you and respect its needs. Now, stress is one way of feeding back that the body is not happy about something. Negative emotions are the way that the body feeds back that it's not happy about something. Gut feelings are a way of the body communicating its needs to you. But the question is, how much are you listening to your heart and gut feedback or your whole body intelligence feedback? How much are you in tune with these sensations and this feedback from inside of you? Or how much are you overriding it or ignoring it? So this is what we're going to look at in this lesson. Now, we have three brains, which we've already mentioned, and if you haven't watched the three brain video, then please go and watch that video. It's really important. We have these three brains and they're all designed to do a different job. The thinking brain comes up with thoughts, it analyzes, it thinks about things, and then it comes up with a creative solution. The heart brain is about our emotions and our emotional ability to relate with other people and ourselves as well. And our gut brain is to do with our safety and our survival and also our sense of self. And it is very, very important. So all three brains need to be tuned into and listened to and taken into account, especially if we want to reduce our stress. And in particular, if we're talking about stress and the stress response, it's very much going to be the gut brain that is in play because that is the part of our body that is connected with our survival, safety. Stress is about survival, safety, and so we need to be able to listen to the feedback that our gut brain is giving us, which won't be in words. It's going to be in gut sensations and felt sensations and stress. And that's also going to be accompanied by negative emotions, which will either come from the gut or from the heart area. So we have to really get in tune with what is happening inside my body below the neck. So how do we do all this? How do we get in touch with these three brains and use them? Well, as I've said before, we have to listen to what our heart is saying, and our heart is about emotional feedback. And we have to listen to what our gut is saying, which is to do with safety guidance and very much to do with, well, what is right for me? And then using that feedback, we come up with a creative solution with our head brain. And that is how the three brains are designed to be used as a team. They're meant to all be on the same page in alignment, like they're all lined up, all ducks are, lined up in a row, and they're all on the same page, they're in agreement, and that is when we will feel good inside. That is when we will have a sense of peace inside, because we're in alignment, we're in integrity. And the word integrity comes from the word integer, which means one, right? It's one, it's whole, it's one thing. So we're trying to get everything in alignment. And the way to do this is to start consciously practicing listening to these three parts of us, listening to what the heart is saying through feelings, listening to what the gut is saying through gut sensations, maybe through stress, through energetic feedback, and then listening to what the head comes up with as a creative solution. And then we're really using all three brains. So I'll give an example of how one can listen to one's three brains and what happens when one doesn't listen to one's three brains. And this was a very strong example that happened for me, and that's why I like to use it when I'm sharing an example. So many years ago, I went for a job interview, and I was just fresh out of film school and looking for work. And I went to have this interview, and it seemed to be going really, really well. So my heart was excited. It was sending back positive emotions of excitement and joy and sort of curiosity. And my gut was feeling really good, and my head was feeling really good. So it was like the green lights were on. But then we came to the part in the interview right at the end where he said, well, I'm going to tell you what the salary is now. And he said, and I'm going to be very straight with you. This is, we're not able to pay very much at this point. And he told me what the salary was, and it was really, really low. And my gut brain immediately responded. It was the first thing to respond, or the first brain to respond. It just clenched up and went into tension. And it actually did like a somersault inside my stomach. And it was so strong and so obvious, it was impossible to ignore the feedback. Now, that was my gut brain giving me intelligent feedback about how it felt about what I just heard. So my gut brain went into tension, it clenched, it somersaulted, and that was my gut brain actually telling me that doesn't feel good. The sound of that salary does not feel good. At the same time, my heart sort of sank. And we have all these sayings, my heart was filled with joy, or my heart sank. We have all these phrases, so we really need also to pay attention to what are the phrases that we speak to ourselves with. So my heart just sank, and that was my heart. Remember, this is an intelligence, and our heart is directly connected with our higher self. My heart was saying, that doesn't feel good. I'm not happy with that. And then my head brain kicked in, and it said, yes, but, it's really difficult to find a job, and you probably won't find another job, so you better take this job. So what happened there was all three brains spoke to me, and the question is, which brain or which brains did I listen to? Well, I went into fear, and I allowed my head brain to override, and I believed my head brain and bought into, if you like, what my head brain said, and overrode the other two brains, because we have, with free will, we have the power to override this internal feedback from the other brains. I overrode the feedback from my heart and my gut, and I accepted the job. Now, what happened was, over a period of time, a lot of anger and resentment started to build up over working so hard and being paid so little, because my heart knew, at its very heart, if you like, my heart knew that I was worth more than that. But the problem was, I didn't believe I was worth more than that at the time. I didn't value myself enough, which is why we talked about self-worth and self-value in the self-care module. I did not value myself enough, and so I overrode the truth of what my heart and my gut were telling me, and I took that job, and over time I built up a lot of frustration and resentment because I really wasn't being paid my value. And this has been a big lesson for me throughout my whole life, to value myself. And of course, this directly links back to, if we don't feel valued as we're growing up as a child, and we're not treated with value and respect, then we won't come to value ourselves or respect ourselves. So this was a perfect example of overriding what my heart and my gut were telling me. So I'd like you to think of a situation in your life where you may have done this, because it's quite likely that this has happened at least once in your life. Did you have a situation in your life where you had some feedback from your heart and or your gut brains that told you clearly how they felt about a particular situation, but you allowed your head brain to override? And this overriding is actually called a rationalization. And a rationalization, when we rationalize away, other information, is called a rational lie. So what's happening is we're actually lying to ourselves. So have you had a situation where your heart and your gut clearly spoke the truth to you? And by the way, the heart and the gut can never lie. They simply cannot lie. They will always speak the truth. And this is really important, because if the heart and the gut could lie like the head does, then we'd be in real trouble, because then we'd really never know what is the truth and what is the right thing. So what was that situation that happened to you, and what did you do in that situation? Did you finally, listen to the heart and the gut and allow yourself to be guided by these parts of you? Or did you allow the head to come in and rationalize away and override what your heart and your gut were saying to you? It's useful to look back, because sometimes it's easier to reflect back and see things more clearly. Now, of course, what we need to do from now on is to use this information on, for how we manage our life now, to be in tune with the feedback that your heart and your gut brains are giving you on a moment-to-moment basis, and start to trust that feedback, and make it a priority to listen to it and to respect it and to follow it, and to have the courage to do that. And courage is the highest level of operation of the gut brain. We need to tap into our courage in order to do what is right for us. So this is very, very important when it comes to living our life, and in terms of this course, learning to de-stress. Because if our heart and our gut brain is sending us feedback in the form of negative emotions, gut feelings, felt sensations, and we're not listening to that feedback and we're not acting upon it, then our body is going to go into the stress response, because what it means is we're going against what is right for us. And we have to learn to do what is right for us. Even if it may upset the apple cart, even if it's uncomfortable to do initially, we have to learn to trust our internal guidance system, which is always working for our own best interests, and follow it and do what is right for you. So in the other modules, when we're talking about people and situations, or even in any of the modules in this program, please take into account your three brains and the feedback from all three brains and learn to use them as a team.